Welcome in, everyone, and welcome to the stream. You're in for a treat. It's session 58, and you know what that means. It's time for D&D, Seregen campaign style. Welcome in, everyone. Glad to see you back. And, we've got some things to go over, but before we do so, let's let the party introduce themselves, and then our special guest for this evening.
Hello, I am the Banewall. I am Belzian Gilcus, the half-elf monk.
I'm Amethyst, and I'm playing Roger Mays, the Wood Elf Assassin. Wood Elf Assassin? Probably not this session.
I'm Shade, and I don't know how to operate a mute button. I'm playing Ulrich Oakenhearth, the human paladin.
I am Jaeger. I play Yarvik, the halfling ranger.
I'm Atomic, and I play Zippo, the Cobalt Sorcerer, and I have something to admit. I've been reading the Vampire Boonies this entire time, not Baronies. Ever since we put it on the map.
They are the boonies.
I just, I see that, they put it right over, the pure flat land, so I was thinking, yeah, Boonies, okay, gotcha.
We need to give a Louisianan twang to our vampires now, I guess. Speaking of, I'll let Brambles introduce herself.
Hello, I am Briar, or your Queen of Brambles, and tonight I am reprising my role as the Baroness Bayvon Therese.
All right, thank you, and welcome in, everyone. So, to kind of fill you in on what happened last time, the group got back to Aurora and kind of tried to figure out what's been going on the last couple of weeks since they've been gone. Updated Reynard on the happenings of their journey so far, and got some info from him as well. On their way in, they also got a subscription from, let's see here. Well, thank you, Devout Dragon. Thank you so much for the resub. 27-month streak. Wow.
It does say boonies, I can confirm.
Apparently it does say boonies. He can confirm, yes. So, yep. Thank you for that sub. I appreciate you. And ultimately, on their way into Aurora, Roger noticed flame torches, blue flame torches that were kind of ringing the area, and those were kind of drawing in undead for the elves to kill that were straying too close to the village. He found kind of some stacks of that. They were re-met by Ire, one of their old elven friends from their journeys before they met Reynard earlier in the campaign, who had been taken for torturing and information gathering by the Baroness herself much, much earlier in the campaign. So they were relieved to see that she was relatively okay despite being somewhat injured, and she informed them that the Baroness insisted that she heal naturally, so she refused any healing from the party. She also offered to take the group south to help them search out the vampire capital and lead the way across the vampire baronies and into the wastes. But ultimately, instead, led them through a tree that took the party straight to Malkavia, the Baroness's village, if you will, city, location where the Baroness has set up operations. So the party is currently outside of Malkavia. At this point, Ire joined a group of an armed group that appeared to be some sort of welcoming party that was there for the group, and she turned around and said, "My mistress requires your presence." and that's where we're going to start off. The voice sounds familiar to the group. I didn't try and imitate the voice last time, but the voice that she used was a mocking version of Ayer's voice, and then you begin hearing the Baroness's voice coming out of Ayer's mouth.
Well, that's not good.
Is it not good? I think it's very convenient because we also require their presence, so it's kind of like a win-win.
That
And,
is true. I mean,
As
If
so
If that's the case and you do require my presence, I suggest you follow the escort.
Zippo's writing Ayer's name in his book, and it's marked out and said ex-friend, by the way.
well, I mean, we want to talk to vampires. Certainly, a good start.
Yeah, but pretty sure we want to talk to, like, the main vampire.
Well, royalty is royalty. We've got to start somewhere.
I don't know anything about royalty.
It isn't
Hey.
the path we intended to take, but it might end up working out better for us. So let's give it a try.
That's right. Yeah.
I feel like we don't have much of a choice.
I assume there's always a choice. I assume that if this is how I'm thinking, because Cobalt Society, the leader would be like the main, main chieftain, right? And so, like, if it's not the main chieftain, they're just kind of like not the main chieftain.
Out of curiosity, this is in the rings or outside of the ring?
Oh, Zippo's saying it out loud.
Okay, all right.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we're just.
I don't think Ulrich also. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is all like in front of.
Yes.
Yep.
Jorvik is just looking at everybody like,
If you'd like to debate,
WTF, guys.
I suggest.
As you're
you do
talking,
it
Zippo
while
points
walk.
at the person you're talking to. Group discussion right now, and then he continues talking. Zippo's very mad at Ayer, by the way, just so you get like the context, because he thought Ayer was his friend. So he's very mad at Ayer. He has no idea that she's being controlled or whatever is happening here. So Zippo continues with the whole, Cobalt Society theory.
So Ire raises a hand, and one of the figures that has now reached the group steps forward to Zippo with a sword drawn,
Oh, yay.
and you can see that this is an armored ghoul.
Even cooler. Zippo looks to the ghoul. Man, that's cool. That kind of awesome, but also still group discussion.
Have discussion while walking.
Okay, first off, your breath is kind of rank, so let me finish my group discussion.
Toe is kind of
Ulrich will pick up Zippo as we continue forward.
Toe is kind of hiding behind the group, like trembling at all of this. Toe has no idea what's going on, but guesses that these are vampires and is pretty scared.
It's
Can I pick up
just hold
the-
on.
I heard Zippo talking and somebody else.
I was just saying, it's okay, Toe. Just hold on to Ulrich.
Say Roger will make sure to walk behind Toe so that he doesn't try anything funny.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I should have introduced myself as Toe Kim, the elven warrior that joined the group by surprise last session.
He was great. I love him.
Great guy, great guy. Shall we study on then?
Yes, I suspect the Baroness would prefer if we were not delayed any further.
I mean, what is
Yeah,
time to a
indeed.
vampire? Aren't they literally immortal?
But the rest of us are busy wasting away, and I think she wanted to talk to us.
Ulrich is going to, through the rings, just note to everyone, hey, you know, if you're within like 10 feet of me, you can't be frightened. I'm just that.
Awesome.
I just give off that kind of aura. I'm that comforting.
You are pretty
So
cool.
stick
Zippo
close.
says while it's being killed.
They can smell your fear, but not if you're standing next to Ulrich.
That's right. They smell something else.
It's hard to watch full plate.
I was about to say, if you start to, get scared, pee, then they'll be distracted by the pee smell, will smell the fear. Survival tips
Always be
101.
pissing, I say.
Yup.
All right, so the group joins the procession. There's the word, with Ire in the lead. Ire is carrying herself quite regally, despite her injuries. She's walking as if she doesn't have them, which is interesting because her ankle is turning beneath her as she walks, but she walks painlessly. There is hints of horror lining her eyes, but there is the Baroness's grin, or smirk, I should say, as they walk. The procession leads you down a well-kept road. There are examples of people hanging from various contraptions lining the road as you get closer to town. Some of them are still alive, even. Not all of them. You can see some of them heavily breathing, but fortunately for you at the moment, unconscious. You're led across a well-kept bridge and into the town itself. From there, I assume the Baroness in Ire's body begins to tell you about the town.
This is your first visit to Malkavia, I take it?
That's correct.
I'm sure you will be quite impressed with Malkavia's trade and military might. I must say I was surprised that when I learned of your existence, you did not come from Necrata.
No, we most certainly didn't, and I'm certain you know that the wall is no longer there.
Much to my every anxiety.
Oh, no, that's interesting. What makes you anxious about that?
Well, at first it was the barbarians at the gates, so to speak. And now we have Orcus. And she gesticulates with a wave of her hand going upward.
You say orcs?
Orcus.
Orcus,
demons.
the demons, yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that guy.
Well, it's mighty funny you bring that up, because that's exactly the way we feel. You see, we're mighty fond of not having, well, violence where there used to be just a wall, and having a demon running about causing who knows what kind of havoc. Well, that doesn't sit well at all.
The demon also knows that stupid demon that I don't like, so negative points for that.
As you continue walking, you reach a hill. And there's a wall with an impressive gate at the foot of the hill. At the top of the hill, there are a few small villas and a large manor situated at the very top. You can also make out a large flower field glowing in the night. There is a red crescent as you draw yourself up the hill. You see that it is made of spider lilies that glow. And this upturned crescent is nestled under a field of white flowers. And together they form a complete circle. And as you draw even closer, you can see the figure of the Baroness herself walking through the field towards the manor at the top of the hill.
So, just for Zippo's sake, because he's seen the dragons that he ever so loves. In comparison to like the Bronze clans, like Ildren, what are we looking like size difference here? Like building size difference. Not like I realize Ildren's a bigger city than this, but like building size difference. Is the manor we're going up to like as big as the houses in Ildren, or
So are you asking if they're giant size? Like they were
well
in
actually I
Eldrin?
wouldn't assume size, but like more of like let me change the question.
Sure.
Decorative wise, like is it as like I guess the word would be lavish as some of the dragons' houses?
Very much so. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Um. So, Brambles, at this time of day, is there any um whatchamacallit, any people out or anything like that?
Yeah, there are a few people out. I mean, it is nighttime, and even though it's going to be day soon, uh, the interns, so to speak, need to be active when the mistress of the house is awake. So there are quite a few humans just like dashing around the grounds of the manor as everybody gets closer. There is a human that has been chained to a post near the entrance to the grounds, and there is an elf standing over him with a large cane, and the elf is using the cane to beat the human.
Well, that didn't seem very helpful. May I ask, what is this person's crime to get the cane?
I'm sure he stole food or something. You can always ask.
I will ask the caner why they cane.
So do you go and approach the elf and ask?
Yes, I dare say, fellow, what for has happened to this man that you would beat him?
One of the ghouls that is leading the group kind of steps up to stop Belzian. Briar, do you wave the ghoul?
Yes, the ghoul is waved off with just a outstretched palm and a knowing smirk. Tell the ghoul, let him.
The elf looks at Belzian up and down. His vision goes straight to your ears. He spits at the ground in front of you and says, Motivation.
I think I understand. Hitting him makes him more motivated.
Yes.
It can be also very motivating for the caner, Roger adds, helpfully.
I will leave them to their caning, because I don't think there's much I can do for them at this moment.
Okay.
Bavon, as Ire, actually kneels down to inspect the human's face.
The caner stops what he's doing.
She looks the human dead in the eye and she says, "Consider yourself lucky. Last night, someone tried to free Gormir. Did you learn what happened to them?"
The human shakes their head.
Through the ring after hearing Gormir's names, it was like, now we gotta kill him. Gotta get Gormir.
Not yet, Zippo.
I'm going to reply over the rings. Our host is being remarkably cordial. What's her angle?
Look, all I'm saying is if we see Gormir and we also have a chance to get away, we're taking Gormir with us. And we're at the very least, killing Ire. At the very least, killing Ire. Have to.
To circle back around to Yarvik's question, our host is being cordial because they have a position of overwhelming power and can be however they wish.
I feel like there's more to it than that.
Well, she may want something from us. And that's a good position for us to be in. We do well not to violate their hospitality, as awful as the things they do may be.
Yeah, that's the point. I guess we just roll. We just need to roll with this for a while. I'm very curious. I mean, we don't have a choice, as you say. But
Zippo chimes in. We always have a choice, boys.
Let's choose to play it cool, perhaps.
As an ancient kobold once said, violence is the most common answer.
Yeah, well, that's. I do want to just point out, Zippo, that sometimes people, their choices are less robust than you may believe. For example, you wanted to stand and continue our chat back there. I just picked you up. You had a choice to continue to stand and chat back there, I guess, but you would have had to scramble out of my arms. And short of hurting me, my friend, I don't think that you're getting away.
Yeah, but I wouldn't hurt you, because while
Right,
I'm in
but
your arms, I'm also able to, if need be, have you as my shield.
right, but I'm just saying, like, there is a power difference here, right? Like, if you wouldn't hurt
No,
me.
there's a friendship difference.
No, not between you and me. I'm saying, but with Ire, she's not someone in power. She's her ability to resist and choose pretty much comes down to, does she want to live potentially and wait and find a chance to get away like I did with the giant folk, or does she just want to die now?
I mean, I don't care about Ire. I'm talking about our decisions.
Right, but I'm just saying our decisions maybe don't need to involve killing her. Because you did say, two things you want to accomplish if we see your elf friend is run away with him and kill her. So
That's just
maybe
assuming we don't see the Baron before then.
right,
Like if we see the Baron and she just so
Baroness.
happens to be, or Baroness, and Zippo doesn't know this stuff very well.
Oh yeah, no,
and they just,
that's the noble, and Ulrich just kind of corrected you.
Zippo's like, yeah, if we see them before this, then and they are controlling Ire, we can maybe let Ire off with one psychic glance.
All right, I tried. I am gonna say that the fact that while we're all here in the rings, the fact that the Baroness is concerned about Orcus plays into our favors. I don't like any of what's going on here, and I'd love to just put things right. But frankly, imagine this all being part of Seregen as well. So, mitigation is my goal.
Are you saying the best fight is the one unfought?
Sometimes it is.
But what if we work out an agreement here with this Baroness or whatever you say, Ulrich, but the chieftain of the vampires doesn't want to agree with it? Then we have a whole new issue.
Well, we do, but we at least have some vampires potentially on our side. A war with an entire united front is way more difficult than a war with a divided front.
the truth is, if she wanted us dead, we'd be dead already.
Right.
So she wants something from us, as Roger just said. Divining what that's going to be and how we may be able to use that to our advantage, that might be a little bit of the trick.
Zippo just kind of like heavy sighs, and then he'll like stop communicating in the ring and go into his orb.
The Baroness Asire finishes describing a host of unpleasant things that happened to the person who had attempted to help Gormir escape, and straightens up and turns to the party. Shall we continue on?
Of course. So, out of curiosity, how long, if I may ask, Baroness, have you been a vampire? If I'm led to, if my understanding is right, it's you don't start off as one. Is that accurate, or is the old stories wrong?
Oh no, that is quite accurate. It may surprise you to learn that I've been a vampire for 86 years now.
Well, it's not that long, all things considered.
No, and it is something that my peers constantly remind me.
Must be a source of consternation for you. Um, Perhaps this is a GM question rather than an Ulrich asking the Baroness question.
Okay.
Oh, okay. There it is. Never mind. I was pretty sure the Baroness was originally human. I just wanted to ask that. So I think maybe Ulrich would ask then. So, your king and your queen, were they also human once before, or were they elvish, or how did this lovely kingdom come to be?
If you have the honor of meeting Her Majesty, perhaps then you may ask her.
Right. As you continue on, you grow ever closer and closer to the Baroness's manor. I'm gonna bring up the map on that now. Briar, I assume the Baroness is waiting for them. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
She will be just inside the main building.
Inside the main building. Okay, got it. This entrance right here.
It's all black to me.
Ah, yep. That would give you vision, night vision. There you go.
Yep, that should be good.
Okay.
Actually, put me one room inside.
You got it. You should be able to control your character as well at this point, but I will take care of you. There you go. Forgive the light leaks. I'm fixing them as we speak. All right. So the party is at the main gate of the manor, which is on the eastern side of the gates. From there, you see that there's a building off to your right. it looks like maybe some of the slave area living quarters. You see some of the humans that are under the Baroness's care washing in a fountain just to the north of you at the entrance. They seem to be washing off grime and what appears to be dried blood from their hands and feet. The procession leads you further into the villa with Ire at the lead. To the north, you see what appears to be a barn, maybe servicing animals. And to the left, some carriage, a carriage shop where carriages could be repaired. You see a few carriages in there, and some large-looking horses that are being led north down the path to the right as you're walking. The grounds kind of open up from there. You see that there are trees and benches, and everything is well manicured. Trying to I assume that the so is there anything that I am missing describing at the moment, Briar?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. From there, the main manor comes into view. You can see faint lights in the distance to the north of you of other buildings, or perhaps more of the same building as the manor, which has more than one story, potentially 2 or 3 towers above you. And from there, you are led toward the front entrance. The front entrance is lined along the wall with finely trimmed hedges that kind of buttress windows, and you see that there is a what appears to be a porch that is raised off of the ground about 5 feet or so, just to your north, just to your right. You can see just make out through the windows some fine decor. You can't really see much into the room. You can just make out chandeliers lighting the room.
So the interior is lit.
Yes.
I was going to cast dark vision, but if we're going to a place that's lit, then I'm not going to bother.
You have lighting. I've provided lighting for you 30 feet, just because ultimately, in terms of the procession, the Baroness absolutely wanted you to see what was going on, not be led in the dark. So she took care
I
of
don't
that
have
for
anything
you.
on my map. It's
Oh.
all black.
Okay. I must have missed one. Let me fix that for you. You don't have bright light? Oh, I see. Vision is off. That should work now. Anybody else can't see?
There we go.
Did I get everybody else?
I can see.
Okay.
Also, as a heads up for the rest of the party, Zippo is in his orb right now.
You're not in the orb. You are concentrating on the orb.
Yep, yeah.
Just as a heads up, he can still hear, I think, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, he just focusing on the orb. He's having a little 5-year-old temper tantrum right now.
He's pondering his orb. as all
Yes.
spellcasters are wont to do from time to time.
True enough. True enough.
Not all who can hear can listen.
Fair enough. And out of character question, because I didn't think about it till now, but when Zippo's focusing on the orb, does it give off anything to show he's focusing on it, or does it just look like he's sitting there holding it?
It looks like you're just sitting there holding it. It doesn't glow more than it already did.
Okay.
Which, by the way, is fairly bright. Which is, I guess, also a good source of light for the group. If you couldn't see, it's got a 30-foot radius of light as well. Remember, you could see that thing from, not space, but like from the sky, right? So.
Yeah.
All right, so you are at the front entrance. Briar, what does Ire do?
So Ire will nod to the procession of guards, and all but the heavily armored ghoul will turn and march away. The ghoul will take the knob of the door in hand, open it, and bow for everyone to pass through. And Ire will take the lead.
Oh, Roger will give a small bow as he passes.
Belzian with a deep bow. Show off that flexibility.
Jarvik will provide a curt but respectful nod.
Okay, so y'all go in. Go ahead in.
In we go.
You're in a mudroom of sorts, a entry chamber with a great door that is 15 feet wide by 15 feet tall. It splits in the middle and opens on its own. Ire does not open the door, and it reveals a grand entranceway. The carpet is. Go ahead.
I was gonna say no. You go for it.
Okay. The carpet is crimson red, and standing in the middle of the room is the Baroness. There are some pillars supporting what seems to be a second floor running throughout the middle of the chamber. Ulrich runs right up to the Baroness, apparently. And you see that there is a door to the right, a door to the left that is actually closed, a stairwell leading downward. No, upward. Sorry. And several other doors opposite you. The carpet continues to the left down a hallway. And the entire house is heavily furnished with nice fineries. There are curtains, red curtains that can separate the room on either side. They are as crimson as the carpet. The floors are polished mahogany floors. Ulrich, if you were in any other place, you would admire them. They are stained a deep red stain. And yeah.
The secret to the staining is the blood.
Well, I admire the stain on your floors. I'm going to finish wiping off my boots before I step out of the foyer. Had I known that we were going to be, that we would have an immediate audience with you, I would have dressed nicer.
Once Roger enters through the door, the two doors shut again.
Roger, was it?
Yes, ma'am.
My chefs are preparing a feast for you all. If you would like, you may have the time to wear something nicer.
Excellent. Thank you for your hospitality.
All right. So,
Over the ring.
is
Sorry,
that
go.
invitation only for Roger at this point?
He's the only one who has expressed a desire to change.
Okay.
Belzian over the rings would say, well, hopefully she doesn't mean to have us for supper.
I intend to wear the nicest clothes I can to make it less likely that I will be killed. These vampires appear to appreciate the finer things.
So, if I may ask, perhaps this is something you are more inclined to discuss over a meal, but why all these lovely theatrics of bringing us out here? What can we do for you?
Well, as you say, I would much prefer to discuss it over the meal.
As I imagined, I hope you will not take it as an offense, but I find it after so many years on the road, I find myself more comfortable in my armor than not.
She laughs, and it's a full-bodied laugh. I won't begrudge you your desire to stay intact, but rest assured you are not dinner.
I would have been surprised if we were. I feel you are a little more refined than to play with your food, so.
Oh no, I love to play with my food.
Now, that is where we differ.
You'll know if I ever play with you.
Parcheesi, if you could.
Okay, so from there, the party has been invited to dine. Roger, you are led to another chamber to change, and you're given. Give me a sec. Okay.
Oh, am I going to have to do this in front of an escort?
That's up to the Baroness.
Yeah, you know that heavily armored ghoul.
Not personally. Is that about to change?
Depends on if you talk to him while you change.
Wouldn't dream of it. Not that I can dream, being an elf and all.
The heavily armored ghoul leads you to a closet just here. I'll bring you over. And takes you inside and closes the door. Inside, there are many different sorts of clothing for different occasions, themed in both male and female. Some seem to be loosely fitted for any fit, and some are more fitted.
I could spend all day sorting through these to find something, but fortunately I brought my own and do not have to do that. And Roger will put on his dress uniform from all the way back in the ball in Seregen.
Okay.
With nice convenient hiding spots for knives.
I have the one that you commissioned for the occasion from the
Yep.
Man, those were simpler days, weren't they? Waiting
And
3 days to get your clothing, as opposed to this.
He'll still have his weapons with him, he'll still have his sword with him, the magic rapier.
The Baroness has not made any attempt to have you disarmed, or disliked for that matter.
There it is.
Didn't we get fancy dress from Rift as well?
You did. Inspiration for remembering.
Very good. Very good. I have currently inspiration. If I can pass it on to somebody, that would be cool.
You can.
Who is currently uninspired?
I am uninspired.
Please take my inspiration.
I appreciate it. And out of character, I don't know if I probably didn't say it, but I kind of assumed it. Since Zippo doesn't wear armor anyway, he's kind of always wearing that fancy dress that Riff gave us.
Okay. Good
That
to know.
makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, Zippo never took it off. Like, unless he specifically needs to for, like, put on armor, which he doesn't wear, he never took it off.
Master has given Dobby a toga.
Yeah. It fits well with his now golden scales. Or, sorry, bronze scales.
Are you fully bronze scale?
Yeah, I'm fully bronze. Like, the only thing left
Dang.
on me that's red is, like, where the tattoo would be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shall we avail ourselves of the opportunity to get all dolled up?
I'm
It's a
always
pleasant
ready.
change.
Sometimes change comes from within, but
And
I think
sometimes
this
from
does
without.
suit the matter.
And other times from your pocket.
Mostly from Ulrich's pocket.
That's true.
Thank you, Ulrich.
So I'm taking that to mean you folks are changing too?
Ulrich is not, but others feel free.
What does the Rift uniform look like, or Rift clothes? Is this nice stuff, or
Yeah,
is it like
it's
weird
nice.
looking? Does it have a
It's
weird
nice
logo on
fine
it?
clothing. It does bear it does bear the symbol of the Bronze Clan on it, and is silver in color, like a glittering. But like it's not subtle. It's not like a disco ball. It's like it's like how velour sheens. So it's like a velour silver.
Is there like a big bronze R on the front, like a Team Rocket kind of thing? For Rift.
No, it matches the symbols on the back. It matches the symbols that are on your arm on the back of it.
Well, that's delightful. Yeah, I think most of us are changing. Did we just go for that? Just change in the hallway here. Bloop.
Okay, so Roger goes to, Roger, can you open the doors or anything like that? Can anybody see the doors, or do I have them the wrong way?
Yeah, I figured it
Okay,
out.
all right, cool.
Flat.
Roger really likes doors.
That was me.
So, Roger, you come out to see the whole. Please refrain from opening and closing the doors unless you're actually opening and closing the doors. Thank you.
No. I'm just actually opening the doors. I'm just kind of wandering around.
Okay, so Roger, you come out to a scene of some of the group changing, some of the group kind of saying, Zippo's just concentrating on the orb. Ulrich's kind of looking at the group like in disdain, knowing that he's a noble. You're not surprised. And Yarvik is going around and opening doors that are nearby him to see what's behind them.
What is
he's
Tokim
curious
doing?
and he wants to find a place to change.
My closet is empty, save for the ghoul, of course.
The ghoul followed you out.
Oh, okay. How is Tokim doing?
Hey, what's Toe gonna wear?
Toe is kind of standing there absently, kind of just like completely locked up.
Right. While everybody else is changing, since Roger finished first, he'll kind of go over there and give Toe a pat on the back.
Okay.
Hey, kid. Hang in there.
Toe's right there by the door.
Look on the bright side, Toe. We're gonna get a real meal tonight instead of hardtack.
All right. So the rest of the group changes. Does the Baroness do anything else? At this scene?
Is that the ghoul and fire?
Yes.
She'll wait for each of them to get ready patiently.
Okay. Okay. Once everybody is done, everybody is done, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Now, if you would like to follow me to the dining room. She opens the door with a flick of her wrist. And there's a grand hall with several tables. And several humans scrambling to get all of the food out. There is also what would at first appear to be a large bird cage, much like you might see like a collection of homing pigeons being roosted, except instead of birds, there is a dense group of vargui flapping around.
What I've called vargoyles.
Okay. I was very confused about what the animal was.
Sure hope there are vegetarian options at this meal.
Brambles, where is the bird cage?
I'd say right about here.
Okay.
Would like to note that Yarvik changed his clothes out of his armor, but he didn't leave any of his weapons behind. So he's just got his nice doublet on, and he's still, he's still packing heat.
Noted.
And he makes the thing with your collar where you pull your finger and you're just like, oh, this is uncomfortable.
The door closes behind you. And Briar, I gave you full control over the minions.
I noticed.
All right. So there are seats open for the whole group. Feel free to take your seats wherever you'd like to sit. I see Roger has already taken his spot.
Yeah, I'm kind of like on the edge of a chair here. It might relocate to be in the middle of the chair.
You can also hit Alt if you want to be off of a cell.
That sounds like heresy.
Would Ulrich just said Zippo next to him or no? Because I've been under the assumption you've been carrying me this whole time. So
Yeah, I think Ulrich would just set you down at the end here.
yeah, ready.
Yep.
All right. Looks like everyone's seated, except for, of course, Toe, who sits here. No, sits next to Roger.
Oh, damn it, I've become an uncle.
Well, you're a funkle at least.
It's the mustache.
Fair enough.
All right. So we usually have a break around 9. Do we want to break now? This seems like a natural place to take our 10-minute break.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's fine.
All right. We will be back in 10 minutes, folks. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. In the meantime, enjoy the sweet tunes from Amadeus, and maybe get your own dinner. Have a good night. Or not have a good night. Be right back. Don't go anywhere, please.
Don't touch that dot.
We are back from the break. Welcome back, everyone. Hope everyone had a good one. So where we last left off, the party had just sat down for dinner in the dining hall here. Some members have selected to sit up at the Baroness's table. Those are the set places that are set. The tables down below do not have any settings at them, but there are seats nonetheless. And 4 members of the party have taken seats there.
So, what might we expect to enjoy this evening?
Um,
So,
there she is. Okay. Just wanted to make sure you weren't muted.
lots of dishes set out on all of the tables. And there are sausages and cuts of beef and chicken. There are steamed vegetables, fruits like apples and pears, and there are pastries. There's a casserole with cheese and ham and broccoli and green beans.
Well, it's a lovely spread.
Does anybody choose to eat?
Ulrich will.
It's that awkward moment where no one wants to go first, so Yarvik's just gonna zoom in on the sausage and be like, "What kind of sausage is that?" Never mind, it doesn't matter. And he's just gonna grab a handful and just start going to town. You guys should really get in on this. The sausage is delicious. You guys should try it.
I have no. Never mind. Takes an hour, so it's not going to be worth it.
We could eat just really slowly if you want.
No, it would be an hour of him casting continuously, so it's not going to work.
Maybe that would be the grace before the meal. Just a really long-winded one.
Yeah, I mean, Ulrich also will have a bite. He's immune to disease, and as he gingerly, delicately eats things. So there was talk of business while we eat. Might I inquire why it is you've brought us to your manor?
Oh, Before I get into the details, I'll need to have a bite. But I can let you know I am led to believe you have some strings to pull with the barbarians.
We've made diplomatic overtures to them, yes. Roger nods his head at Toe next to him. Toe here can confirm that.
She looks pointedly at Toe.
He stammers.
Can you confirm it, Pinky Toe? Or has one of my little pets got your tongue?
He just kind of nods and stammers. Nodding in confirmation, I should say.
So, the Baroness bends her right wrist outward, holding her index finger outward, and then motions that hand upward, and ire rises with the hand. This is her neck. And gets in position for the Baroness to sink her fangs in. The Baroness does bite into her neck very deeply and takes a long drink.
Ire's face is visible to each of you. Her face is pointed toward the party instead of away. As the Baroness drinks, her eyes go wooden and have a blank, far-off stare. She shows no emotion. The color drains from her face, however.
When the Baroness is finished, Ire stands up. The Baroness wipes a stray drop of blood from her bottom lip and gingerly puts it on her tongue. She turns to Ire coldly. She says, Ire, my dear, thank you so much for your service tonight. It's time for you to join Gormir in your room.
Oh, I'm sorry. Why is it that Ire cannot stay with us? I enjoy her company.
I'm sure you do, but Ire does have a long night tomorrow. She needs to help me give Gormir a correct perspective.
Ire hasn't stopped after the instruction was given, even after Ulrich protests. She leaves out this.
Ire, your friend has protest. Would you tell him good night and reassure him?
Good night, Ulrich. Everything will be fine. And she leaves out the door.
Well, I didn't need any more convincing than that.
I'm not sure I'm convinced. Maybe we need Gormier to come out here to tell us it's going to be okay too. Just to put our nerves at ease.
We'll never actually get to do any of the diplomacy if all we're doing is begging to be bid good night by every elf in this compound.
I
I concur.
just now that we've all had a bit of sustenance, might we get to the matter at hand?
Yes. So you have indeed made diplomatic overtures to the barbarians in the north. I would very much like to use your diplomatic overtures as inroads for my queen to make diplomatic overtures of her own.
Real fast, like not to like ruin the scene or nothing, but would Zippo be able to make it with the hearing, or is it a sight perception?
You can ask that in chat while we're talking.
So,
Sounds
So-
like that would be aligned with our interests.
yeah. What is it that you hope to use us as a bridge for? What is the end goal?
Orcus presents a singular problem. He has disrupted the nobility of Nakrata. And my lady would like to make sure that we are not at odds with anyone else while we deal with Orcus.
And after Orcus has been dealt with, what is
Sorry, I think you cut out.
Oh, I apologize. Once Orcus has been dealt with, what is it that you see down the road here? The wall is gone. Removing Orcus, one way or the other, will not bring the wall back, to my understanding. How does Necrata feel about that?
As I have alluded, the barbarians to the north are the source of several potential issues with the wall falling. If the Queen can ensure that the clans will not be a significant issue going forward, that would be a benefit to the Queendom.
Now, I have a personal, we all do, of course, connection with those lands to the north now. But I am also very curious on your opinion of the lands to the west.
I have very little opinion of the lands to the west. I don't have time to think about it very much. I must run my barony. I must deal with territorial disputes with my neighboring baronies, and I must deal with potential dangers from the north. The baronies to the west can deal with the lands to the west.
I see. And do you know how your queen might feel about the lands to the west? Your king, perhaps, as well? I understand there are two rulers, but that they do not always see eye to eye.
I cannot presume to speak for the king and queen. I do know that even a land full of cattle can be ignored by the rancher.
So, I'm curious, what do you know of this Orcus?
I know a significant deal. What I want to know is the point of your question.
Well, I am an individual who is a little less long-lived than you. I've only been around for, I'd say, well, judging by your appearance and my limited understanding of vampires, I'd say that I am about how old you were when you turned. I'm fairly young in the grand scheme of things here. I like to know what my enemies are. I'd like to understand them. I've been a soldier for a long time. And I understand Orcus is a threat, but I do not know the full extent of what that threat poses, how that threat operates, what that threat wants. You, however, seem a little more knowledge in the fact. So, I thought perhaps you could share some of that knowledge.
Orcus is a demon lord with a certain proclivity for undeath.
Ah. I see.
But she presents a unique challenge for this kingdom.
Indeed, I imagine someone who no doubt has a certain amount of mastery under the undead would be quite the problem for you.
Quite. The Baroness stands up and strolls casually to the Vargui cage. It may help in being transparent that a small number of vampires in Necrada have defected the kingdom in favor of joining Orcus.
Well, that is a real shame to hear. A divided nation. It's never a good thing. As someone who has lived through a divided nation for a good while now.
Tell me, what would your Seregen do to a noble who defected from their king to join a rival nation poised on the brink of war?
Well, we had a nice civil war between three brothers who were each trying to go for the crown. And once that was all said and done, in the long scheme of things, we hunted down the last, one of the brothers who we had thought was dead. And I carried his head in my bag for a while. He would have been my king until he wasn't. So death, I suppose, is the answer.
It was my principal occupation before the wall came down. Roger smiles. Hunting down traitors.
That's true.
She opens the cage and puts a hand in. And one of the Varguis lights down upon her fingers. And she takes it out of the cage, turning to the group, closing the door behind her.
In the cage, many Varkui are fluttering of different shapes and sizes. the one that lands on her finger, has a red beard and red hair. On her finger
Well,
rests the head of Gerard.
that is unpleasant.
Just as an aside, folks, that was a 1 in 20 chance. And she rolled it, so...
It's,
I thought we killed the Vargo that was Gerard because he fought us the first time we fought the Vargos.
It got away.
I think he just flew
Oh.
by random once.
Got you.
It was hunting you folks with a swarm, and you
Yeah.
hid. Last time you saw it. It seems like every Vargui's head is different within there, by the way. Anyway, back to the show.
well, as I said, that's rather unpleasant. The very man I spoke of. So, what
Is
would
it
you
really?
do? Yes, indeed.
How very serendipitous. I must confess, I had no idea. And she seems very sincere when she says this.
Well, I'm sure you didn't. But, I wonder, what would you do? What do you plan to do with your traders?
Well, for those who have fled to Orcus, I plan to crush them. Slowly, until their screams fill the air and then slowly die out. And as she's saying this, she is crushing Gerard in her hand.
It just gives me the warm fuzzies inside to watch you kill that bastard one more time.
As for the traitors who would usher in intruders unbidden, secretively, they will be retrained, and after their retraining, they will take the place of the man responsible for them. You know, Air did not take long to give you up. Gormir, on the other hand, played ignorant. Now, Gormier is getting used to a new look, and I think ire serves me quite well. Was she not a model vessel? Sorry, I lost my voice for a second there. Was she not a model vassal?
She seems quite capable.
And it also told me one other thing. I must say I am skeptical, but I do have standing orders to double check these things. I am told that you, and she looks straight at Ulrich, are in possession of a certain figurine.
I'm in possession of a variety of things. You'll have to be more specific, I'm afraid.
A swan?
Swan. I had a goose for a while and then a duck. I don't think I've come across a swan yet. I did also have a seagull and oh, what's that? What's that other waterfowl? It's kind of like a duck, but it's not a duck. It's like a seafaring duck. Oh yeah, sure.
And Briar, roll to detect that. Okay. He seemed.
Kitty.
Yeah, there you go. Ow.
So anyway, but swan. I mean, I can certainly keep an eye out for it. What does it do?
You could call it a national treasure.
Like the
It and its pair.
oh, it comes with a pear. My duck had an apple. Which, like a duck, I find to be a more common thing.
She rolls her eyes. It's a pity you're calling air a liar.
The ghoul kind of snaps to attention and looks at you expectantly at that.
When the ghoul looks, Zippo will be like, "Oh, yeah, don't forget we had that really weird bearded guy statue that we got from the Hydra's nest." That's long gone.
I'm not sure if you cut out Briar, or if you just were considering.
Just considering.
Okay, all right. Yeah, he's looking to see if you have any orders for him regarding ire.
Femur,
Yarp.
bring 2 of Ire's fingers, and then reset them.
Yarp.
You know, may I just throw out there a ponderance? I noted that I did have a duck and a goose. It is possible that Air may have just...
Femur,
Yarp.
please show me Auric. Femur, you can wait right there.
I'm sorry, show you.
The duck and the goose.
Had was the operative word there. I had them. I do not have them any longer. I don't know when the last time you were up in Relic was, but you need to be able to trade things every now and then. They don't exactly use the kind of currency that I do. Back home, that is. But I would expect that something like a goose might be confused for a swan.
To some people, perhaps. To
And
someone in Necrata, unlikely.
well, then
Femur.
perhaps it is on me then, because maybe I'm the one who is getting it wrong. Roger and Ulrich lock eyes. um, like a knowing glance at each other. I may have had the very thing you're looking for and just been calling it a goose and a duck. But like I said, it's no, the duck did have an apple, like I said. I don't remember the goose or swan or whatever it may have been having a pear. But the duck did have an apple.
A pair, as in a duplicate.
Oh,
Second of its kind.
goodness gracious. Aren't simophones just strange like that? But Yeah, I'm just saying, it's totally possible that I misnamed this thing and have since lost your relic in relic. Which is pretty funny when you think about it.
And more's the pity for you. That
Hmm.
certainly would have helped your case.
Femur is still standing by the door.
And you sold the swan in relic when?
Um, well, it would have been pretty close to the border, so I could probably go get it.
Yeah, roll deception.
A little better that time.
And Briar. Oh yeah.
So yeah, I could probably go get it. I mean, why I'm lost though. It's a symbol of your people, like a flag or like the crown that my king would have worn. Uh, how does uh how does that symbol motivate? Well, forgive me, Baroness. I'm just a little lost. You brought us here to help you. Was it strictly because at one point I was possibly carrying this symbol, or is it because you want us to negotiate with the with the barbarians? You know.
If you carried what I think you carried, the success of your diplomacy would have increased in probability.
Hmm. Well, gosh, like I said, I also did have that cormorant. That's the word I was trying to think of earlier. The thing that like a sea duck. Um, Let me see if I still have it. Maybe an orc produces the swan. Is this cormorant maybe what you were talking about?
Briar, you
Is it
see
is it the swan that Necrata has been looking for?
Briar, you see the silver swan of legend, the one that you have seen drawings of. It's been imprinted in every vampire to be on the lookout for. It is certainly one of the pair.
So, has everybody watched Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
Remember when Frodo
Freaky dildo?
offers Galadriel the ring?
Oh yeah.
like she has that face going on right now.
Oh, that's a scary face. I don't like that face.
Oh, sorry, I guess it's not the one you're looking for. And he puts it back in his bag.
Oh no. That is exactly the swan we are looking for.
He pulls it back out. This is a swan? I've been calling this a cormorant the whole time. How is this a swan, and why does it matter so much to you?
As I've said, it and its sibling are national treasures for the kingdom. And they house certain magic that the king and queen of Necrata are able to work with.
Well, that's real
Something that
nifty.
would benefit the entirety of the kingdom. Including those cattle that you would care about so much.
Oh, it's sweet to think I care, but it's your land, not mine. So, gosh, I guess I could deliver this to your queen directly.
Oh, could you?
Well, it certainly wouldn't be out of the way for us. I mean, we had hoped to meet her and her king at some point. I wonder, though, do you need the other one? Because now I'm starting to think maybe I did have both of them. After all, I did have a duck with an apple, and then what I thought was a goose. But the more I think of it, it did look awful lot like this cormorant here, or swan. Sorry. Um, do you need both, or is one enough to do your magic?
I would need both.
Ah, shoot. Now, the one I sold, they were talking about powder in it to make holy water, to prepare for the border fights if they ever came about.
So I don't know if folks missed it, but while we're at this pause, I did describe the room a little bit to those of you who made a 21 or better in their perception check. You'll note something additional, but I can say that behind the Baroness is a fireplace, and above it is a crest of the Baroness, a crescent moon in the shape of a U, so like an upward So like the shadow of the moon would be on the top, and the white U is on the bottom. If you got bigger than that, you'll see that there's a small circle up at the top of it as well, just above where the imprint of perhaps a full moon would be. The shadow of the moon. The room has curtain windows throughout. All of the curtains are drawn. The windows that you can see down to the fountained courtyard here are thick and shaded. And by shaded, I mean they're tinted. So it's unlikely that the sun would be able to get through these windows, save a slight illumination. And they look hard to break.
How big is the fireplace? Like, is it like a little cozy fireplace, or is it
It's about 10
approximately
feet
one
wide.
humanoid size?
Yeah,
Okay.
you could fit a person in it. The dragon head that's up there, that's what the symbol is. So it's not the dragon head. It's just what the art was when I got this map. So pretend that's not there. The crescent moon in that shape reminds some of you of one of the gods' symbols.
So the Baroness walks back to the desk, and that is next to the Vargui cage, and she picks up an inkwell, a quill, piece of parchment, and she carries them to Ulrich and sets them on the table beside his setting. And then she produces a stamp with her crest on it and a little bar of wax and puts those on the table as well. The thing is, I insist that I send this one ahead of you. I invite you to write a letter in your own hand and words detailing how you are presenting the swan to Her Majesty, and I will seal it with my own mark and send the letter and the swan to the capital.
Sounds like a good way to get ripped off.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm so worried. I mean, will your queen really want it if it's just the one? Do you even have a lead on where the second one is? I mean, you said this will get us a lot of good favor, but imagine if we had both of them.
Well, if you want to go and find the second one, that is your own prerogative, but whether it is one or both, it is very important to the king and queen. It is every vampire in Necrata's mission to make sure that those swans return home, and so I must again insist that you let me send the swan ahead.
So you want us to send our only bargaining chip on just your word?
I am also sending a letter in the hand and words of your own adventuring group.
Again, you want us to send the only bargaining chip we have on just your word.
If you think it is just my word, you are sadly mistaken. My word is quite
Nothing to
a
us.
binding thing.
It may be here to the people that, live here, but it's not to us who are, not from here.
Hmm. Subtlety is lost on you, cretins.
I mean, don't need to be subtle to be right.
And to my friend's point,
My word literally binds me.
Yes, Cretins was correct.
yeah,
If I promise you, I must uphold it.
oh, that's interesting. Why is that?
Oh, and part of it is a quirk of my having been turned, and part of it is, well, I guess you could call it a fail-safe device that the king and queen place on their baronies. No, make sure that we don't promise that we'll stay loyal and not desert to Orcus. And then the next night, go out and desert to Orcus.
You literally just ruined your whole argument with that because you just said there's deserters. That makes me trust your word even less.
Really? You think that because the king and queen worried that more of their barons and baronesses would choose to desert, decided to bind us through
You're
our
saying
promises?
Well, the way you said it made it sound like they did it beforehand. Oh, by the way, I don't know if it's coming across, but Zippo has a very agitated tone.
well, that's interesting. I I wonder if I could secure a few other promises before I hand this over.
It's possible. But currently, I'm making no promises.
That's fair. would you be willing to promise that handing this item over brings no harm to Seregen?
Or relic.
Or Relic. But I was going to do that as a separate promise, but yeah, Seregen or Relic.
The act of bringing this swan or its sibling would not bring harm to Seregen or Relic.
Now, see, that's funny phrasing. I wonder whether this. I would wonder more whether this swan can result or be activated in some fashion in something that will or could bring harm to Sergen or Relic.
That's the problem with contracts. They always have loopholes.
I suspect it's the opposite. I think
Ah. Go ahead. Sorry.
I suspect this has a property that could be used as a weapon against Necrata, and that's why they want it. And
That is interesting.
us sending it ahead of time is a gesture of goodwill.
Oh no.
Perhaps would perhaps go a long way towards ensuring that we can make the diplomatic overtures that we came here to make.
Indeed. I see what you're saying, and it is possible that that is the case. In the ring, I think he would say, my only kind of concern here is that, and I've been a little fast and loose with this, I understand, but Reynard was pretty insistent that it not fall into vampire hands. I was kind of hoping maybe I could get some cards to be shown here in this little game, but
Roger's going to cut you off through the rings, and if you had stopped lying at the beginning of your deception with "No, we don't have it," then we wouldn't be here debating this right now.
Call a perception check. I'm gonna call a perception check here.
Sure.
For everybody, or
Yep.
also through the ring, Zippo's going to be like, it's some kind of necromancy magic just from looking at it.
"22.
This whole thing feels like a deception, really, and I'm having a hard time entertaining anything this vampire has been telling us. I don't know how you all are remaining so calm.
So
He's
Roger
told us
and Yarvik would have noticed that when it was mentioned that sending the swan would be good faith, that the Baroness pursed her lips ever so slightly.
Belzian also sees that with a 14 then, if Yarvik can see it.
No, I did not. Okay, there's Belzian. Yes, Belzian also sees it.
Back out of the ring, Zippo would be like, I do not think we should send it.
But
Not unless we're going with it.
But before any decisions are made, let's speak plainly. And Roger turns from addressing his companions silently to addressing the Baroness directly. What exactly are you promising us? And on what condition?
On the condition that your diplomatic overtures are in good faith, that you demonstrate the necessary good faith, she says pointedly. I can promise that the king and queen will receive you and treat with you. I can promise that no harm will come to Seregen or to the lands in the north.
We're gonna have to say
In direct effect from bringing the swan, I cannot promise that once having either swan, that the king and queen would not choose to turn their attentions to the other nations after Orcus has been dealt with. That is not a promise I can make.
Then we can go with the swan to the king and queen, who can make the promise.
Yes.
Yarvik's just going to point out over the rings. Keep in mind, she's a regional baroness. She has some ability to negotiate in this first discussion, but she can't really make national level promises, right? We're kind of asking her to do things that she can't really do because she doesn't 100% know the minds of the rulers of Necrata. But I do think it's a good point that we can hand deliver the swan, whatever. We can hand deliver that as a means to gain leverage for an audience. I think that's a good point.
Agreed. You must excuse us, Baroness. However, what you say has raised some concerns. And in the interest of good faith, we had these concerns prior to coming here. But you brought us here to ask if we could help with your northern border. And perhaps we can. But Relic and Seregen would like to treat with the Necrata as a whole and meet diplomatically with Necrata as a whole, so that we all can cooperate and deal with this problem of Orcus. And perhaps after, to maintain the old borders for everyone's own security. It seems like that's not a thing that you can promise us. And it would be mightily unwise of us to, as Ulrich has said, or Zippo has said, to dispose of our only bargaining chip with nary a promise made.
I can promise that sending the swan ahead, it will remain a bargaining chip. I can also promise that I cannot concede on this point. Whoa. Why is a setting piece moving?
I noticed that Zippo didn't have a setting, so I made one for him. Don't mind me.
Seems your castle is haunted.
Well, yes, but
Sorry.
Well, it
you
seems
have
that
the bearing of a noble, Ulrich. Is that correct?
I mean, yeah. I'm sure I do.
Were you born into nobility?
That's why I'm sure I do.
Then perhaps I can illuminate for you. I was not. As you may have guessed, I was not born a vampire. I was not born a baroness. I started from the bottom in this kingdom. And not even other humans were kind to me. But I have clawed and scraped every opportunity to get myself where I am today. And if I let you leave with that swan, knowing that it has been in vampire possession and left vampire possession voluntarily, what I have worked for crumbles.
Then go with us. Problem solved.
I would love to. I promise you that I want nothing more than to go with you and present the swan alongside you to my queen. However,
I can
as
stop
a-
you right there. That's the only way the Swan's leaving without us. Actually, ever. The only way the Swan's going there is if we're with it. That is end point right there. Not to be, well, I don't care if I'm rude. Zippo says in character, by the way. He says, I don't care either way. Your point is pretty mute. You can't promise us what we need. The only bargaining chip we have is in our hands. Why would we give it to you? It doesn't make any sense to give it to you. And in order to give it to you, we would have to trust your word, which none of us know you, so we would not trust your word. So there would be no reason for us to trust you. I don't care what magical binding your word does. For all we know, your word counts for you, but it doesn't count for the Vampire King's Queen. So we could get there, and then our now bargaining chip is immediately flushed down the toilet because they have what they need. So why do they need to bargain with us now?
I'm just gonna point out over the rings that this being character. While I appreciate your point, you realize that she could just kill us and take it, right? It's a bargaining chip, yes. But we're not negotiating from a position of power right here. So slow your roll a little bit, because I don't really feel like dying today.
All you gotta do is fight back and not die.
Ulrich will vocalize just to temper that a little bit.
To be clear, that was over the rings. So.
Yeah, no, it was. I think, but Ulrich will both simultaneously respond to you and to what what Zippo said. Just to temper this a little bit, it is clear that you have been generous to us, you have been courteous, you have received us as guests. If a little intimidating, I mean, I think we can be honest, there's been a bit of theatrics going on here. But we are also here because we are a bridge to the barbarians. I do recognize that. I do recognize that that is something you need from us, and this swan does not immediately fix that. But I am very curious about something. I have proven myself to be a bit of a fool when it comes to ornithology, as I mistakenly did not realize this was a swan. And I have conveyed to you that its mate, its pair, is just north of the border. Now, when I pulled this swan out, you were practically salivating, if I may say so. You didn't really raise an eyebrow about being just north of the border. The possibility of that. Why is that?
I have very little interest in crossing into other territories. I have no interest in journeying north to Relic, let alone journeying north to Relic. I have no interest in crossing over into the other baronies unless it is demanded of me by Her Majesty.
Then, if the swan was there, that's its mate, which you said is needed, both mates are needed to make the magic work.
Then you have another bargaining chip.
Well, that's very fine and well, but it's just strange to me that you wouldn't want to know exactly where that is, and do you follow? I guess what I, to be quite blunt, feel is that maybe, just maybe, your king and your queen already have the other one.
I think if that were the case, I would have batted an eye at you saying that its pair was north of the border. Rest assured, if you think you have its mate, I personally have no interest in discerning where exactly it is. That is not my place. The Queen will know what to do to find the other one once she has the first. And if Relic has it, as you say, then as I say, you have another bargaining chip.
Well, as a noble, I'm sure you'll understand that it is rare for us to make decisions without first consulting our viziers. Vizier, Roger,
You call.
what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this?
It seems like none of us trust each other. Perhaps with good reason. I'll glare at Ulrich. I certainly like the idea of having the Baroness accompany us to the capital, but she's unable or unwilling, then we need to find another option.
Maybe she has a trusted aide, somebody that could go in her stead.
I mean, she did mind control the lady that brought us here, so there you go. Problem solved.
I believe I heard, and to use your own words, Baroness, a model thrall that might be suitable for the task. So you need some assurance that we don't simply walk off to another barony and make the same deal to somebody who's perhaps closer to the capital. And we'd like an assurance that we still have our chip and are able to present it personally. And a promise won't do, unfortunately. But by all means, we'd be happy to write a letter to go with your own, if you wanted to send letters ahead.
Make a diplomacy check, Amadis.
Oh boy, persuasion.
The Baroness bites one of her thumbs as the other hand taps repeatedly against the table.
You can take that roll at face value, or I was basically having him roll it to see if that assists with his words. You can take them at face value with an 11. I don't think that roll will harm him. Just seeing how influential the roll, or how influential the words could be. That's all. A positive modifier, not a negative.
She begins muttering under her breath through her thumb, looking visibly agitated.
Can I hear what she's saying?
Your most recent perception was a 22. If she's speaking quietly, feel free to make a stealth check, Briar, with advantage. I'm using the same roll because it's the same. You pursed your lips before, and it was a noticeable thing, so I figure it's kind of along the same line there.
Yeah, I think he hears at least most of it.
You do have a second roll, because rolling with
Oh,
advantage. Right. Okay, yes.
I cannot hold the water if I go. We cannot leave it in our possession. Methuselah would be all over me. If I send her, then my work could be undone. It's too early. But perhaps. No, maybe? She'll need to bring the marsupial pair. And if the entire escort would that be enough?
And by the way, this seems slow, but it is quite fast what she's murmuring. It all happens very quickly. So it's not like you're all sitting there listening to her mumble for, a few minutes.
Sorry, yes, I am trying to slow down so I'm not
Yeah, exactly.
too fast.
Yeah, that's I'm just pointing that out. I know what you're doing. You're trying to be clear enough for Roger to actually hear what you're saying. I just wanted to make sure that I think we get it. If you have more, continue. Sorry to interrupt.
Perhaps you would acquiesce to being my guests for a little longer. We'll send a letter ahead, and perhaps the Queen would give me leave to escort you instead of attending the duties that I have been charged with.
That sounds fine to me. Roger looks at the rest of the party.
We're kind of on a time limit with, demons attacking. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, perhaps there is a
2
time
nights
limit.
at most.
2 nights. How long does it take to send a letter?
If all goes well, just under half the night.
Could be faster if you just get somebody with, a sending spell.
I think the wait is worth it.
The problem is there has to be deliberation on the other end.
You're telling me in the whole Vampire Kingdom they've got 2 people that can do the sending spell?
She pinches the bridge of her nose. I am not saying that we are sending a courier. I am saying that there will be deliberation at the capital that can take half the night or longer. Because the Queen will have to consult with a council of her viziers.
I'm saying that time plus the time it would take to
is that
travel
right,
there.
Josh?
Say again?
I didn't know that. That changes my answer.
So what you would do is that would be to somebody outside of that, and then they would travel in.
Let me explain exactly how sending this message would work. A sending spell would be cast to someone just outside the mountain range, and that person would cross into the capital over the or through the range. The queen will receive the message and deliberate with her council, then send the message back outside the mountain range, where a sending spell will be cast back toward Malkavia. The sending spell will not go directly to the capital. The mountain range will interrupt the sending.
Yeah, and I'm saying we don't know what the demons are planning.
Not
Tomorrow
now,
could be our
Zippo.
last day. Look, Zippo is very agitated, and so he's just
Yeah.
he's just speaking.
Yeah, not now, Zippo. The adults are talking.
Yeah, and the adults are making dumb points because demons
No.
are literally attacking.
and the vampires.
We all
seem to
saw
know-
the giant demon. He is an obvious imminent threat. There is no reason days should be wasted here when those days can be used for traveling to meet the important people we need to meet to get the job done so we can fight the demons and save what we call home.
Zippo, if you're nice, the vampires might let you pet the Draco Lich.
I could do that anyway if we run across them. Zippo's very agitated. Because the last he saw, demons were near his home, which is the Bronze Clan now. So he is very in a rush. Minus the obvious shiny treasures he picks up.
Forgive my companions, but we are a little concerned about Orcus.
As am I. You must understand that is why I cannot simply travel with you without getting new orders from Her Majesty, as I
Understood.
am charged with securing the border against Orcus.
I understand. A few
The
nights
only
when
way
I
I feel secure letting the swan leave my manor is in my possession. Or the possession of one of my retainers. I would be welcome to travel with you if you insist on keeping it, with permission from Her Majesty. Otherwise, I must insist. And she puts a hand on her Bilbo rapier, which is in a scabbard at her side. That I send it ahead.
You could insist all you want. It's not going to change what we need to do.
And we have a plan that may allow her to do that. And all we have to do is wait a day or two. It
But
will
that's
be
the
fine.
thing. We're working on limited time we don't know about. We might not have a day or two. For all we know, the demons could have attacked the vampire capital already and wiped them all out. None of us know. The point I'm making is we have limited time to get these demon problem dealt with.
We can travel much more quickly.
With the aid of the vampires than without.
To Ulrich's point, if we have to fight our way there, we're gonna end up being a lot slower anyway.
Yep.
Sometimes the most strategic thing to do is nothing.
Zippo just says, "I'm surrounded by idiots," and goes back to focusing on his own.
No, the feeling's mutual, buddy. Don't worry.
It's that 10-foot aura.
Yarvik is gonna say over the rings. I think we've reached an impasse, and we've pretty much negotiated this to a draw, which is not bad because that's better than where we started.
I'm quite happy with the outcome that we got, considering all of the steps we took to get there.
Yeah, and I agree, and I just want to say this is more or less the direction I wanted to go. I was just hoping that we might glean some more information from her, and we didn't.
We'll have plenty of time to do that after she has the assurance that she wants.
A couple of days, apparently.
And negotiations give and take. If we do her a solid and let her save some face and let her bring the trophy in, then she kind of owes us one.
See, there is one thing where I think Zippo is correct here. I don't think she owes us anything. I don't think the only negotiating power that we have, aside from the fact that we are a bridge to being friendly with Relic, is this thing. So I am not, in love with the idea, but it does not seem that they have the other piece. I'm going to take her at her word that they need both, because I know there is a mate out there that they need both for it to operate.
Out of character art, you have the mate in the bag.
I thought, no.
Yep.
No, you have it, because when my bag turned unmagical, it was in my bag. And so I gave it to you.
Shoot. Hold on.
That's why I had you roll deceptions.
It's the duck with the apple.
Yeah, remember the anti-magic water?
Yeah, no, I remember that happening, but for some reason I thought it was the same one. I guess this was ages ago.
Yeah, so remember how the revelation, you're like, right, I saw the pair through the swan in a bag.
Right.
And here's the bag. Got it.
So I should have just asked that outright. So okay, then I do apologize. I should have just clarified because I only have the one. Oh no, I have it in my notes down below, and then I have it as a separate twin figurines of Wondrous Power, Silver Swan.
Instead of
as an actual item. Yeah, I was looking at the notes down below.
Well, either way, she believes you were in possession of one, or that you are in possession of one. So that's where we are.
Don't tell her about the other one.
You're willing to deceive yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Ulrich only told her about this one because he knew that he suspected that they did not have it, but he wanted to clarify what their intents with it were.
But best case of all, they don't think you have that one either, and we get to go unaccosted.
Yeah,
so really don't think King and Queen have it now. Good job.
Yep.
Yeah, now I really don't think the King and Queen have the other one.
Yeah.
So aside from Zippo, who wants us to fight our way out of here and then flee to Manir, is the rest of the party okay with us waiting a night or two?
Yeah, I mean, this is ultimately.
We're all basically on the same page, I think.
Yeah, she legitimately, if she had never brought up the swan, 100% was already like, hey, I want to do the thing you want to do. I was never against it. It was only with the swan that I was like, well, let's explore that a little bit.
I was happy with the first lie. If you'd known that we were going to be lying, I would have been happy to lie with you. I've got expertise in lying.
I got a +9 to lying,
and I never do it. I literally can't roll below a 20 on deception.
We are good guys.
And I'm over here trying to tell the truth next to the paladin who is lying his ass off.
He lied about two things. He doesn't. That he got rid of it, and then oh wait, I do have it. That was essentially it. And in fact, the second lie was, "Oh, whoops, sorry, I'm an idiot." That's honestly that's just true.
You're not. The word cretins was chosen carefully, and it was not wrong. um, once we've gotten all kind of silent nods in character and a dejected silence from Zippo, Roger will turn back to the Baroness. It seems like we're more or less in agreement. We'll stay here and accompany either you or your trusted advisors, as the case may be, a day or two hence.
Okay, so with that being said, we are at the 15-minute mark before end of session. So is there any other discussions we'd like to talk about while we're at dinner?
Yes. The original reason for us coming here is you wanted some assurances about the northern border, right?
That is correct.
I'm happy to inform you. And we've convinced Relic to stop attempting to expand.
Provided that they do not. Yeah.
Provided nobody attempts to expand into them. They have informed us that they haven't seen or heard of that happening. So, presumably that that position is still in good standing. And they're willing to meet at the negotiating table after Orcus has been dealt with, to ensure that peace stands long term. And while perhaps they would rather meet with the leadership of Necrata, maybe this could be some comfort to you.
I don't mind stating that it is great comfort to me. The less I have to worry about what goes on at the border of Necrata, the more I can focus. I wish that I could be fully assured of your promise, but should the weight behind it be demonstrated, again, I would be greatly comforted. The word of a vampire is far better for being assured than that of a barbarian.
And the less we say about the humans, the better.
Yeah, I mean, those fuckers turn into vampires.
I understand your concern.
She snorts. You might be surprised to learn that vampires are not born every day.
No, they're born at night, aren't they?
She smiles dryly. Vampires are not born every night. Great pains are taken to decide whether someone is worth being elevated with the gift of becoming a vampire spawn. From there, great, longer pains are taken to decide if someone is worth becoming a full-fledged vampire. You will not be finding very many humans turning into vampires. On another note, if I may satisfy my curiosity, entirely personal, of course, the child mentioned another statue, one with a beard.
This one, Roger just shrugs. No, I don't even think I've seen that statue. If
Zippo
It is.
carried it around and rubbed its beard quite a lot in your travels, so you've seen it in his possession.
Oh, okay. No, in that case, uh, I'm sure he has it on with his effects. I am not presumptuous enough to go rifling through them on his behalf, though. He side-eyes Zippo.
Zippo, still focusing on the orb, says, even if I did still have it, I wouldn't show it to you. You're not worth seeing it. It's too cool.
Refresh my memory. It's like just a little wooden statuette, right?
It was an onyx statue depicting a short bearded man.
I remember it well enough to describe it. It was made of a small black rock, uh, depicting kind of a squat, bearded man. Sort of deformed in a way, almost. Not tall and thin, like an elf.
Perhaps as if he were made of clay and someone pressed down on him. Is that what you're saying?
Perhaps.
It was a short little squishy fellow, that yet still unlike our halfling friend here.
Fascinating. It's a shame that it is too cold for me to see it. And she flashes a toothy smile.
If anybody wants to do a history check on it.
18.
Zippo
Yeah,
gave it
character.
as a gift to Rift.
Yes, I thought we gave it away.
Yeah. Belzian, you
Zero
remember
says-
too.
Well, if you kill more hydras, you might be able to find one. Because out of character, that's where he found his, was in the hydra's nest.
You might be interested to know that many vampires have this appearance. This sort of squat with luxuriated beards.
Fascinating.
In fact, many of them are, I think all of them are some of the oldest there are. Well, I must retire for the day. Femur can show you to some rooms.
And that femur yarps his way over to the entrance to the chamber, which you hear a unlocking sound and the doors swing open on their own. And he bows quite... for a ghoul, he is very succinct, very tame, very mannered, and he bows gracefully and ushers for the group to follow him. And that's where we'll end for the night.
Dun dun dun.
Or for the day, I guess. So, folks, we will be back in 2 weeks, which will be October 10th, for continuation of this part of the story. I'll be interested to see what happens, just as you will. It was fun to kind of facilitate this meeting. So we will see what happens next time, what the Queen's message back is, and we will go from there. But in the meantime, be safe, be well, be excellent, and thanks for watching. And Briar, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It was great to be back. I hope everyone enjoyed my presence and enjoyed
Absolutely.
hating on my character.
Yeah, it's nice that the group finally got to meet you instead of just saw you interact with me. So now it was quite the opposite. I watched you interact with the group. So we'll see Briar again next week, folks. Spoiler alert. And we'll see where it goes from there. Maybe even more sessions to come. In the meantime, folks, have a good night, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
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 Bye.